Right, I want to bring you some breaking news from Rotterdam. Dutch police say a 14-year-old girl has died after the shooting, taking the number of victims to 3. Now, you may remember we've been reporting that a woman who was 39 was killed in the shooting. Her 14-year-old daughter was seriously injured, and the update we're getting via Reuters news agency is that the 14-year-old girl has now died, taking the number of victims to 3. A male lecturer, 46, was also shot dead at the hospital. Police have arrested a gunman who has carried out those 2 shootings, one at a house and one at the hospital. We're finding out a few more details from that, and we're going to speak to our correspondent in just a moment, but just bring you that update that now the number of victims appears to be 3, up from 2. That's come from Dutch police via the Reuters news agency. So just to bring you the background of what we know, Dutch police have arrested the gunman, and he says he was 32 years old. That's from police. He opened fire in a home before setting the home on fire, then stormed the city's Erasmus Medical Center. And we believe the shooting there happened as well. So 2 shooting incidents by a gunman in 2 separate locations, and now we understand 3 victims. Well, our correspondent Anna Holligan has been across the details. I think we can speak to her now. Anna, just bring us up to date with the latest.
We've just heard in the last few moments a 14-year-old girl is one of the casualties, one of the fatalities who has died in this shooting. I've just arrived at the scene, as you can see, at the Erasmus Medical Center, where one of the shootings took place. And a few moments ago, I spoke to a security guard here. He didn't want to talk on camera, but he told me that he was first on the scene, and that the person who was killed in the classroom here was one of the teachers. That's the source's security guard who was first on the scene. And if I just show you around here, this is, you can see there's some Dutch reporters over there, also some Spanish reporters have just arrived. But I should remind you of the story, and the security guard also told me the gunman didn't enter through the main entrance. I just came through the hospital. It's absolutely still in there. It doesn't, you can feel that there is something that's happened. So it was in the afternoon, just after lunchtime, Dutch time, police got the first call that there had been a shooting at a house, and then shortly afterwards the gunman arrived here. We've seen photographs shared on Dutch media live pages. He appeared to be wearing combat trousers. Police said he was also wearing headphones, carrying a backpack, and they picked up a handgun from inside the hospital. Police were sweeping through, so very quickly SWAT teams were on the scene. They swept through the hospital. We saw pictures shared on social media. Students had been writing their room numbers on pieces of paper and sticking them to the windows so that people could come and help, because they felt as though they were trapped. There was absolute chaos, as you can imagine, and confusion. Nobody knew whether it was one gunman or possibly more. Police have now said they're not looking for anyone else. They believe the suspect they have arrested was acting alone. Very few more details coming out. So 3 people have been killed. One of them, that teenage girl who we have just heard about in the last few minutes. More information will come out throughout the evening, and police have just shared a message on Twitter, X, asking for anyone with information to come forward to assist with the investigation. One other thing to mention, initially anti-terror police were called as well. There has been some speculation that this was a terror attack, but as yet unconfirmed reports. Police haven't said anything else about the possible motive. There were fires set as well. So initially at the home, which is not far from where I am now at the University Erasmus Medical Center in Rotterdam, fire was set there. Another fire was set at this facility. And as far as we know, as far as police have said, there were no further injuries or casualties in these 2 shootings. The suspect who has been arrested He's a 32-year-old man from Rotterdam, and there were some reports earlier, Reuters were reporting that he had actually been a student here at this medical centre, where of course people come and learn how to save lives. In this case, someone came, it seems, intent on taking them.
Anna, you touched on it there, but just talk us through the geography and the timeline of what we know so far about what happened where.
Geography-wise, it wasn't far from here, as I understand it, but I've just travelled from The Hague, so I haven't actually been looking at the locations where the first shooting was. We have read that he either came on foot or by motorcycle here, so clearly a rather short distance away. And also timeline-wise, it was around 2:30 or 2:55 when police received the first report of shooting in a home. And shortly after that, I'm not sure exactly how long, but shortly after that they received calls here. This whole facility went into lockdown, so we've seen pictures of students, doctors, patients being evacuated, people in their medical gowns. We've seen the pictures of people sticking notes on the window because they weren't sure where this gunman or gunmen were. We've also heard that he managed to enter the hospital and go all the way through, which is why police were checking everywhere. And this building itself, it's vast. It's one of the most sophisticated university teaching hospitals in the world. It would usually be a hive of activity here at this time. There are still some students cycling around heading home, but there is also a children's hospital in here, so 3 casualties, obviously a lot of shock and confusion, many questions, but this type of attack, this kind of shooting, extremely rare here in the Netherlands. I can't recall anything like this, at least in the last decade. And a lot of the people who are here will have been affected because the entire hospital was evacuated while police, the SWAT teams, the anti-terror police hunted for this 32-year-old man from Rotterdam who has been detained and is, police say, the only suspect.
Anna, thank you very much for that. We'll be back with you as and when we get any more details there from Rotterdam. Thank you.